favorite VS Code extension is the Remote Containers extension because it allows me to have access to any languages or toolsets without having to install them locally. Super convenient for working on new projects.
My favorite VS Code extension is called Tab Out. You might not have heard of it, and this is what it does. It lets you literally tab out of quotes and brackets and braces. So if I press tab, I'm outside the quotes. If I press it again, I'm outside the braces. Tab out.
Hi, my favorite extension is GitGraken, since it allows me to manage a commit history in an easy and intuitive way.
Hi, my name is Harold, and my favorite VS Code extension is Markdown Emoji, because I want my documents on GitHub for planning look the best with all the emojis.
Is GitHub pull requests and issues, because most of my workload is on GitHub and I like having all of that integrated also inside VS Code.
My favorite extension is Multiple Cursor Case Preserve, which does just as it sounds. You have a bunch of different selections and they'll have different cases, and I can type normal text and it will preserve the case in the text that I type.
My favorite extension right now is called Conventional Commits. It guides me through creating a conventional commit message, all the way from picking a category, picking a reason, calling out breaking changes, etc. So it comes really handy if you're using semantic release in your project.
I'm Matt Bjorner, and one of my favorite extensions is the Issue Notebook extension. This extension saves GitHub issue queries to a notebook inside of VS Code. It's really helpful for managing larger projects.
I enjoy the Theme Generator extension, which allows you to do just that, generate themes, and with just a click of a button, shuffle the colors and what they're used for.
My favorite extension is Error Lens, and what this allows you to do is to make your errors and warnings a lot more visible. You know when you're writing your code and you run into any errors? Instead of hovering over each item to see what the error is, Error Lens will print out the message directly in the editor, which saves you a ton of time. This is also fully customizable, so you can change the icons, the font, the delay, and much more.
Hey y'all, my favorite VS Code extension is called Prettier, which is great for formatting your code. Check it out.
So I have this code here that's absolutely hideous, but as soon as I hit save, look how much nicer that looks with Prettier.
I like the Skeletal extension the most, which gives me a sketchpad to explore ideas writing VS Code.
My favorite extension is GitLens for its current line blame and hovers capabilities, which allows me to see a lot of context behind each line.
My favorite VS Code extension, Code Runner. Use it with almost any language to get clean output to your console. This right here is in Python. This right here, C++. Consistent, clean.
My favorite VS Code extension is Template String Converter. Sometimes I'm typing a normal string in JavaScript and TypeScript, and then I realize I want it to be a template string with backticks instead. This extension automatically converts the quotes to backticks as soon as I type a $sign and opening a curly brace.
My favorite VS Code extension has to be LiveShare, which lets you collaborate together from different devices in real time. It's made working from home the last 2 years and working on code together way easier.
Ooh, one of my favorites is Indent Rainbow. Check this out. It helps me keep track of the indentation level with color. And as I hit tab here, more colors get added.
Hi everyone, welcome to VS Code Day. We thought it'd be fun to kick off the event by doing a little retrospective on how far VS Code has come along in the past year. So let's start by looking at some numbers. We closed out 2021 with about 19.5 million people using the tool every month. And as of today, we're up to just over 20 million. It's an amazing number. It's up almost 6 million from just last year. And one way we gauge satisfaction of the product is through the concept of a Net Promoter Score, or NPS. So if you've ever responded to a survey where you're asked on a scale of 1 to 10 how likely you are to recommend VS Code to a friend, your response is reflected in this number. So the higher the number, the better. And I believe the creators of NPS say that anything over 50 is excellent, and 80 is world-class. So at 67, we're doing pretty well. So thank you very much for recommending VS Code. And we gauge interest and satisfaction with a project by looking at the number of GitHub stars in the VS Code repository. And according to the GitStar ranking site, with 128,000 stars, VS Code is the 20th most popular repo on GitHub, and it's the top Microsoft repository. The way we look at the health of the extension ecosystem is by looking at the number of extensions published to the marketplace. Now today there are more than 29,000 extension authors, And you can find more than 34,000 extensions and themes in the marketplace, including new categories of extensions we added in 2021, such as machine learning and data science. Now, the last number in the lower right-hand corner is the one I'm personally most proud of. We want everyone to be able to program using VS Code. We've worked alongside the community over the past year to identify ways in which we can make VS Code more and more accessible to everyone. For example, we've recently added audio cues to the editor, making it easier to know when code has been folded or collapsed, or probably more importantly, when a breakpoint's been hit. In 2021, the number of users who rely on screen reader support grew to more than 100,000, up from about 40,000 at the end of 2020. And today, we have over 120,000 users using screen readers to program in VS Code. In 2021, we made VS Code easier to acquire and expanded its footprint onto new platforms. So now we're available in the new Windows Store, we're included in the Raspberry Pi Linux distro, and we support Apple's new M1 hardware for better battery life and performance. But I think the most exciting platform to go live in 2021 has to be GitHub Codespaces, which provide a fully managed cloud-hosted development environment powered by VS Code and accessible through the desktop tools or through the browser. Now, Codespaces utilizes the same development container technology found in our remote containers extension, so you can have a reproducible development environment on your desktop or in the cloud, whatever works best for you. When we started VS Code, we said we wanted to ship like a service, meaning we could push a button and seamlessly update the product so that everyone runs in the latest release, the latest features, the latest bug fixes, and most importantly, the latest security updates. Now, last year we shipped 11 stable releases, one for each month, except during the holiday season. Now, on top of those, we shipped 22 additional releases to address critical bugs and security issues. But hopefully, all of this was completely transparent to you. Now, if that wasn't enough, we also shipped more than 250 insider releases last year. And honestly, I'm just glad we don't name those like we do the stable release, where the January release comes out in February and so on. I mean, if we did this for insiders, then Monday release would ship on Tuesday and Tuesday on Wednesday. And of course, the Friday release would ship on a Monday unless it's a holiday, and then it would ship on a Tuesday. It's very confusing. But probably more importantly, those releases couldn't have been possible without you. In 2021, we consumed almost 2,500 pull requests from the community. So thank you for taking an active role in building VS Code. So not only did we ship often, we easily shipped more than 100 new experiences in 2021. Some big, some small, but obviously too many to list here. That said, I want to call out a few of my favorites. You know, over the past few years, we've seen development tools and services become prime targets for security attacks. Our goal is to make sure that developers are secure by default while being empowered to customize their environments to work as efficiently as possible. So with trusted workspaces, you can safely view and edit your source code from unknown sources without the fear of the tools executing malicious code without your knowledge. And as you tell VS Code which workspaces you do trust, the tool evolves over time to provide you with all of the richness you come to expect, but on your terms, not on ours, not on the internet's. And as data science and machine learning become fundamental to the core development experience, we've been building notebook support into the core of VS Code. And in 2021, we were able to finalize the APIs and provide native Jupyter support right out of the box. We worked especially close with the community, bringing testing support into VS Code, where we now have an integrated test explorer and the ability to discover, run, and debug tests directly from the editor. And the same goes for bracket pair colorization. We worked with the community to bring the functionality of this wildly popular extension into the core of VS Code, where we could dramatically improve the overall performance by integrating directly in the renderer, the UI portion of VS Code, instead of having to span the extension API boundary. I really encourage you to check out the great blog post by Henning on our site, where you can learn a ton about how we implemented this experience. The last thing I want to highlight from 2021 was the release of VS Code for the web, or as we like to call it, vscode.dev. It's a version of VS Code that doesn't require any installation and runs fully in the browser on just about any platform, including the Apple Watch, as you can see here. Not that I would recommend you doing development on your watch, but you can. And if you have a Chromium-based browser like Edge or Chrome, you can quickly edit local files and folders with vscode.dev. You can remotely edit GitHub or Azure DevOps repositories, including making commits and reviewing pull requests without having to bring any code locally to your machine. You can share your favorite themes through a convenient vscode.dev URL, so friends can preview them live. And there are hundreds of extensions in the marketplace that today work fully in the browser, like Luna Paint, which gives you the power to edit raster images right in VS Code. When we first started the VS Code project, our primary goal was to be able to write code in the browser. And in a way, VSCode.dev is the realization of that original vision. But it's also the start of a completely new one. Where an ephemeral code editor, available to anyone with a browser and an internet connection, is the foundation for a future where you can truly edit any code from anywhere in the world. 2021 was a great year, and thank you for helping make VS Code what it is today. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to build together in 2022 and beyond. Stay tuned to hear more about VSCode.dev and web-enabled extensions from Eric Amodio, the author of the GitLens extension, one of the top extensions of VS Code, which he recently enabled in the browser. Thanks again. Bye.
Hey everyone, I'm Eric Amodio and I'm thrilled to be here at VS Code Day. I couldn't be more excited about the mission to bring VS Code back to the web. The potential and power of bringing VS Code and its rich extension ecosystem into the browser is limited only by our imaginations. The zero install, accessible from anywhere ability to jump into a code base is extremely powerful, and it opens the door to so much more. Which is why today I'm so excited about our latest GitLens 12 release, which brings the power and insights of GitLens to VS Code on the web. GitLens supercharges your Git experience in VS Code. Now anyone from anywhere could jump into your code to understand how and why it evolved. Bringing GitLens 12 to the web was no small feat. GitLens required direct access to Git, the file system, and relied on many Node.js APIs, none of which would be possible on the web. Reducing the reliance on Node was pretty straightforward, as VS Code itself provides many similar APIs, and I set up a dual Webpack build to swap out functionality for each environment. From there, the hard part was abstracting direct access to Git. Thankfully, I already had some decent layering in place, so I refactored the internals of GitLens into a provider-based model to allow for the best provider, whether local or virtual, to handle each Git request. Once that was complete, it was time to build out the GitHub provider to translate the Git requests into GitHub API calls. While the GitHub APIs are rich and powerful, they don't offer the same level of access that Git does. So it was definitely a challenge to adapt what could and couldn't be supported. While the web support in GitLens 12 is in preview today, it supports a lot of rich functionality. We will continue to expand upon it as we go forward. Oh, and to any extension developers getting started today, please think about adding web support off the start. Take advantage of the VS Code APIs and avoid using Node directly. I would also highly recommend using URIs everywhere. Don't use file paths if you can avoid it. That was and remains to be one of my biggest challenges, is GitLens use file paths and not URIs in way too many places. Anyway, let's dive in and check out GitLens 12 on the web. Okay, so here we are on vscode.dev on the web, and now I'm going to navigate to the VS Code repo. Enter that in. Here we are on the VS Code repo. I'm going to now get GitLens installed, so open the extensions view, type in GitLens, and right now I'm going to be using the Insiders Edition. By the time you watch this, the stable version of GitLens will be available, so definitely use that. And here now we've got GitLens installed. I'll switch back to our editor. And now you can see that GitLens is enabled in providing the rich inline blame and hover support that hopefully you know and love. So each commit shown here, we have the commit message, who authored it, as well as when it came in. So here in the hover, we can get even more details. You can see that there's an auto link to an issue, and then down below, GitLens will show you that the actual PR, when it was merged, if it was still open or closed, and then same with the issue. So we can actually jump out directly by clicking on that and go find out more information about this specific PR. GitLens also provides a rich file blame, so we can look at this across the whole file. So if we want to know all the different lines changed for this particular commit, we can quickly just switch and highlight of the changes that were brought in as part of that commit. And we can also get the same rich hover information as well. Additionally, GitLens provides rich navigation through history, so we can just quickly jump to the previous commit or alt-click on it to actually pick some previous commit in time. So if I wanted to find out what this change actually brought into the file can jump in here and then specifically see the changes that came in as part of that commit. And the inline blame, the line blames, and the rest of the support also work in these modes as well. And then we also have the rich sidebar views. So if you want to look at all the commits in the repository, or just specifically for the individual file, all GitLens rich views work in the web as well. And then in GitLens 12, we have some great new feature, we call them visual file history. So this is a brand new visualization that gives you, you can pick your time frame, and it will show you, who made changes to the file on the y-axis here, as well as to see the size of the change. The size of the change is both the additions and deletions as these stacked bars, as well as just overall. So if I wanted to get more information, I can click on these individual commits and dive through the changes on those as well. And yeah, so this would be a powerful new visualization that is available. GitLens 12 also supports work trees on the desktop. They're not enabled on the web, but that's a powerful feature to allow you to work simultaneously on multiple branches. So it'll be a powerful feature there. And then we also have a new GitLens Getting Started experience. So in here, let me just open this to full screen. So walks through all the features of GitLens as well. So, for new or existing users, if you're unfamiliar, you can walk through to get familiar with how you can customize GitLens, how you could get it to work and get the most out of it. So yeah, hopefully you'll try out GitLens 12 today, and thanks everyone.